Why you think a lot of motherfuckers Vlad TV? Let's be honest, bro. Like, let's be honest. Who turned you up on Vlad TV, man? Who watch over and over again? Like, you know, like our connection, like, bro, come on, bro. Come on, bro. When you talk about interviewing and you bring Boosie name up, you bring Vlad TV name up. When you talk about Vlad interviewing somebody, you bring Boosie name up. So Envy, I feel you wrong on that. I feel you wrong. You can call me the Breakfast Club and we can have it out.
All right, y'all, welcome back. Listen to this. Now, hold up. We got to talk about some of the things Boosie said. One of the big claims was that he basically helped build Vlad TV and gave that platform a major boost. But then it got messy because it was also said Boosie hung up on them and called them cheap over not wanting to agree on the fee. And I'm like, wait a minute. They weren't telling us that part at first, and Boosie didn't either. So clearly, he's been leaving pieces out and not giving the full story on how everything really went down. Because the way he was talking before, it sounded like everything between him and Vlad was all good and smooth. But now, the more he keeps speaking online, you can tell Vlad is starting to feel a certain type of way. And it didn't stop there. Vlad also brought up Boosie saying, "Have Envy bring me to the Breakfast Club and I'll come up there and explain my value and why I'm worth what I'm worth." And Vlad's response? He was like, "That's crazy to me, because you won't come sit down with me for free and show love, but you'll go to the Breakfast Club and other platforms Boosie pulls up to without charging him." So now I'm looking at this like, hold up. This is the double-edged sword of paying for interviews and playing in that business lane. As I've said before, everybody's gonna run their business how they wanna run it. At the end of the day, this is a business conversation. Now, yeah, I did call Vlad out earlier for those disrespectful comments he made about that black father buying his son 40 acres of land, because in my opinion, that was completely out of line. That wasn't the time or the place for that kind of talk, especially when you don't even have the full context. You don't know their financial situation, their long-term goals, or even the location behind that move.
Because the father could have simply bought that land on some low-key, solid parenting move without all the extra narrative attached to it. Now, I can't say that for sure, but still, the point stands. Either way, Vlad, we don't sit around comparing what we do for our kids to what the next man does for his, and then try to flip it into, oh, come invest in Vlad stocks. Like, come on, bro. Let that man move how he wants. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it just came off disrespectful. But shifting back to this situation, this is really Vlad dealing with the aftermath of being seen as a lick, somebody people feel they can finesse. And deep down, he knows Boosie doesn't fully respect him. He basically said it himself. So before Boosie even circles back to Vlad, there's a bigger conversation that needs to happen. Because now this ain't just business anymore, it's about respect. From Vlad's perspective, he's probably like, why take a private business convo and blast it online? And on top of that, why not tell the full story? Plus, you hung up in my face. Let's not skip over that. Now, Vlad did say they spoke again afterward, but he also mentioned he couldn't really reconnect properly. And according to him, Boosie hung up and even called him cheap. Listen, that part right there made things way more serious. That's just part of the game sometimes though, that gritty side nobody talks about. But if we keep it all the way real, I gotta say this to Boosie. You definitely helped boost Vlad's credibility, and yeah, you brought a major audience over there too. But let's not act like Vlad didn't already have a platform before you stepped in. So when you start walking that fine line, you gotta define that from the jump. And Boosie also revealed he's been getting calls from people about the things he said to Vlad. Folks hitting him like, yo, you wildin' over there talking like that. And his response, I'm just doing business with him. But then they come back like, nah, but he just said this, and that situation went down like that. And Boosie brushes it off like, man, that's just how I talk, that Boosie mouth. And at the end of it all, he's basically saying Vlad never personally crossed him.
Nah, Boosie wants everybody to just line up behind him. Hold up. And I gotta call that out, bro, for one simple reason. Yeah, I stay on Vlad when he gets out of line. It's obvious when he crosses into disrespect. I've stepped back at times, sure, but lately I've had to speak up again because he's been touching on things that feel disrespectful to my people and the culture. So yeah, I've been addressing that. But in this situation right here, Boosie, what are you really doing, bro? Because you knew people had issues with you being on that platform, and you never addressed any of that publicly while you were sitting there. You didn't push back or speak up because at the time you were getting paid. But now that things aren't going your way, you hit the internet, dropped the 5K detail, and put everything out there. Meanwhile, Vlad kept it solid with you. He even sent over documents, back-end numbers, and showed you the paperwork so you could see exactly what was being made and what your cut looked like. He also said there was a point where he was paying Boosie $20K. Then he tried to pitch something new, offering 5 more on top, and even pulling up to Boosie's spot to make it happen. And Vlad made another point. Listen to this. If he paid Boosie $25K for an interview and something went wrong with the footage, like the audio getting messed up, and he asked for a reshoot, he believes Boosie wouldn't come back and redo that interview for free. So what Vlad is really saying is that this relationship has always been business first, nothing more. And now, Boosie seems all over the place, talking about launching his Patreon and telling people to go support it. And look, the real fans are gonna show up regardless. Even Vlad said he'd check it out and support it. But at the same time, he made it clear he's not rocking with disrespect. Still, he says he's open to continuing to work with Boosie.
Because if I'm being completely real, Boosie doesn't respect him. And you can tell because if someone pulled that same move on Boosie, he'd be heated, yelling, going off, doing the most, because he knows that's not how things are supposed to be handled. So yeah, I'm just here to give y'all an update on the business side of all this. And like I've been saying, everybody has their own way of running things when it comes to paying for interviews. If that's your model, then that's your model. No hate on that. But me personally, I'm not about to be out here paying people just to sit down on my platform. I can create a conversation about what's already trending in the culture. I can go live, stream, and still keep the audience locked in. I'm not just interviewing somebody because I know their name is gonna bring views. And funny enough, Vlad used to be against that too. But from what I understand, during the pandemic, he had to pivot and start doing that, especially with certain situations going on behind the scenes. It became more like, all right, let me pay and bring people in, make it easier, keep the content flowing. And that wasn't necessarily because he wanted to, it was because he had to keep the machine running. But once that door opened, everybody expected to get paid. And then you've got Boosie speaking on the YouTube business. Hold up, he's not fully understanding it. Talking about people getting paid forever off interviews like that's how it works. In reality, once an interview peaks, that major money slows down. Yeah, you might get little spikes here and there, but those older interviews aren't bringing in crazy money like that anymore. What really pays is the full back catalog stacking up over time. Individual videos don't keep hitting like that forever. Financially, they're not generating that kind of long-term revenue on their own. Appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you subscribe.